Just having your own custody wallet, like you said, it just gives you that confidence to know like, hey, I, as a man, am taking care of my family and I have a way for us to get out of here if we need to. I'm not relying on Bitcoin to get me rich. I'm really not. Like, I feel like I'm going to be able to become a millionaire from plumbing. I really do. From the sewer. They're going to say, how'd you get $1 million? From the sewers. That's how I got it. You know, I believe in myself, and now I know I can do it. That sparked something in me to where I kept trying, and I'd go to rehab, I'd get clean, I would fail, go to rehab, get clean, I would fail, until I finally had my kids. You know, I found my son. Once I had my son, it's like it wasn't even about me, you know, like I cared about him, you know, and I had a moment of clarity. I don't know, when it dropped halfway, it dropped down. Like if I didn't have that conviction, if I didn't read the book, the big print, if I didn't read the Bitcoin standard, like if I didn't like educate myself and have that this is a great time to do a podcast because it's dropping, you know, this is like when the Bitcoiners come out, you know, it's like, oh man, it's dropping. I get to get a little bit more to my stack. It's always like the rich people are bad and poor people should get everything for free. I'm not talking smack. I'm just saying that's how I was raised. Like, it's their fault that we're poor and yada yada yada. That's my goal this year, 100%. Become a whole coiner, just to put my money where my mouth is, you know. Because it's easy to say I'm a Bitcoiner when it's going up and up and up and up, you know. But this is when you stack when it's down, you know.
Welcome to the Bitcoin broadcast. Today we have on Joshua, the Mexican magician. How are you doing today, man?
What's up, Vince? Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, so I know a little bit about your background, but before we get started, do you mind telling me just a little bit about your background and how you got into Bitcoin?
100%, brother. So my name is Joshua. I'm the Mexican magician. I'm a service and repair plumber. I come from a little bit of a struggled past, you know. I didn't have the best role models growing up, so I got into a little bit of trouble growing up, you know, got into a little bit of addiction, and I ended up getting clean and finding plumbing, finding trade, working with my hands. My motto is dirty hands, clean money, because we don't do anything dirty to get our money, right? We work 100%, work 60, 70, 80 hours a week. We get our paycheck, and then we convert it into the hardest asset on earth, Bitcoin, right? So yeah, I grew up in Southern California, you know. I got into Bitcoin, I think it was 2024, like at the very, very end of 2024. And I bought before, but I didn't know what I had. You know, I bought before and sold it. I didn't know. I had no idea what it was. I didn't even know it was money. I just thought it was like something that could make me money. But yeah, you know, I'm very family oriented. I'm all about raising my kids. I'm all about showing also like, this is like my main thing is like, you don't have to be like it's great if you are like a finance bro and you're like really smart and brainy and educated and you know all the big words and everything. But like, I want to also show that you can, get into a trade and like become a plumber, an electrician or something. You can make a really good living and you could still become financially educated, you know, and you could get that education that you get and you could teach it to your kids and you can financially educate your family. And then that can become like a culture in your family, you know, and you could pass that on. And then you could be that grandpa that passes it on to your grandkids, you know, and that's something that's beautiful to me because I felt like when I was born, I don't feel like there was really a plan for me. You know, I feel like I kind of just stumbled through life until I figured it out, like most of us, right? Which is okay, which is okay. But my page is all about like, hey, I don't have any direction in life. Like, oh, look, he's digging holes to make money. I can dig holes. I don't need to be a genius to do that. I don't need to read books. I don't need to do any of that. You know, you can go, you can earn a living. You can learn to put a couple pipes together. You can start becoming a tradesman. You could, you know, you have to invest a lot of time into it. You know, the first 2 years, you don't make any money. You don't make any money. People yell at you. They're always telling you how to do stuff that you don't even know how to do. And you're just like, okay, yeah, of course, I know how to do that. No idea, you know, but you figure it out. You know, it teaches you conviction as well. You show up every day to work. That's half the battle, right? All these guys are calling out. They're drinking on the weekends. They're not coming Monday. They're not showing up Friday. You know, if you just keep showing up and keep showing up, just like if you keep buying and keep buying, eventually you're going to win.
Yeah. No,
Yes, sir.
no, that's awesome. Did you go to a trade school or did you just kind of like be an apprentice for someone else and they kind of taught you the ropes?
Yeah, 100%. I learned on scene, you know,
Okay.
at work. I mean, I did take classes and stuff that I had to learn that my boss sent me to to learn how to solder and how to do all of that, but I would say I learned 100% the most on-site.
Awesome. I That's
Yeah.
crazy. You have to be an apprentice for like 1 to 2 years, you think, before you even start making money?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, you make money, but it's like not very much. You know what I mean? And it's just like, man, like I see everybody quit in this stage. Like so many people are just like, I could go work at the movie theater and make this and not have to dig holes. I'm like, what? Like, what do you mean? Just give it a couple years, let it develop, and you're going to be making way more than you would make at the movie theater. And you get trained. Nothing's wrong with working at the movie theater, but I'm just saying, and you get trained, you learn skills, like you lower your time preference, and then you're able to see the bigger picture and you become a tradesman. You can make six figures easy, easy in the trades.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, especially now, because like you said, dude, like so many people, because we're around the same age. I'm 35, you're about 37.
Yes, sir.
When like kids these days, their work ethic, they don't want to do like, get their hands dirty. They don't want to do trades work. And there's so many kids, they want to be YouTubers, they want to be influencers. And I'm like, do you guys realize how much money is in the trades? And it's insane how much you can, especially if you start your own. Like if you went out and started your own plumbing company and became like the boss of your own plumbing company, like now you're in the millions. Like you're not just making like six figures, you're making seven, eight figures. Like those
Easy.
numbers are insane. And people overlook it because it takes hard work. And it's like, oh, I have to show up every day. I can't just record from my bedroom. And
Yeah.
it's like, it's pretty pathetic that so many people they refuse to do it. And people like you jump in, take advantage of it. And then what's kind of cool about it is the bar is so low for entry that if you show up and do the work, you can move up pretty quick. I've noticed. Like, I don't know how it is with your job, but like,
100%.
I've noticed that you can become like a manager or, what's another level above that where it's like you're actually,
Supervisor.
yeah, yeah, thank you. Where you're like looking over other people, you can do that pretty quickly just by hard work. Like it's great.
100%. 100%.
How did you find Bitcoin if you were, you know, coming out and you were trying to, get into being a plumber, learning this trade? Who or what was the first thing that like clicked for you?
Well, it's crazy. I was watching like one of these like I don't want to say old person but like old person commercials, and it was showing like the difference between gold and the dollar and how the dollar has just devalued and you should buy gold and I was like that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like I should definitely hold it in something that is not the fiat dollar because it's just dropped. Everything's just more expensive every year. I could see that. I didn't understand that it was my purchasing power dropping. I just thought everything was getting more expensive. I used to hear my parents say, "Oh, we bought a house for 180K in 1989, and then the house across the street right here is like they bought for 20K in 1960." So yeah. So I knew something was wrong, and then I used to follow Andrew Tate a lot, and he was just like, "Hey, instead of studying it, why don't you just buy it and stop being a weenie?" Basically, and I was like, "I guess I'll do that then." And I bought it, and I was like, "You know what? I'm not gonna keep this for myself. I'm just gonna keep it for my son because it's like a little piece of digital gold." I had no idea. I had not educated myself yet. So I just started buying it $50 for my son every week, and then it sparked something in me, man, like some self-improvement, like, wow, I'm doing something that's better than the average. I'm putting something away for my kids. Like my dad never did something like that for me. Or I haven't seen too many people that are in my circle of friends doing that for their kids at such a young age. So like I started to almost like chase self-improvement. I started to work out a little bit more. I started to do my push-ups. I started to be like, hey, maybe I should take some classes on like learning to speak better so I don't sound like a hoodlum when I show up to a customer's house, and I'm like, hey, let me fix your pipes. Like they're gonna be like, get out of here. So like I took some classes, I learned to speak a little bit better, and then I got into sales, at work. And so that was what I was gonna say. Like a lot of these kids, they want to push a button and make a bunch of money. And I get that. And you can do that even in the trades. Like my boss just sits on the phone and tells me, go do this, go do that, go do that because he put in the work, you know what I mean? Like he put in all those years. And so now he has the luxury of just being on the phone, you know? So like the farther you get on in that career in a trade, like the less work you have to do, you know? You get a little bit more stress on you mentally, you know, from having like all the responsibilities, but the like I don't really have to dig as much as I used to, as much as I had to last year. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's paying off already.
No, that's the way, I mean, it kinda should be, right? Like, proof of work. What would you say is one of, like, the biggest lessons that you've learned since Bitcoin, because you go down so many rabbit holes, like, you touched on fitness, and then, like, your proof of work. What about anything else? Like, did you like, faith, Christianity, God? Uh,
100%.
how
I
else
think
did they
in
develop?
my confidence, like with my intelligence, it rose a little bit. Like I used to think maybe I'm not smart enough for self custody, you know, like I'm going to lose this or I'm not going to remember this or I'm not going to be able to keep these safe or like I always wanted to trust somebody else with my money, you know, like, oh, I feel like that was like almost given to me that belief, like, oh, don't trust the government, you know, give them your money, get your 2 5% every year, you know, from your savings account, you know, and like so I think the biggest thing I got from Bitcoin was that I wasn't too dumb for Bitcoin, you know? Like I was smart enough to be able to buy on an exchange, learn about the exchange, educate myself, like, oh, I don't know about hot wallets. I don't know about cold wallets. I don't know about hardware wallets, like, but I could educate myself, you know? Like, yeah, I'm not the best reader, but I can read, you know? So like it's gonna take some time, Josh, but we're gonna be able to figure it out. And that's how I've been living my life since I got into Bitcoin. I've been a lot more into like discovering things that I didn't think I could do before. You know, like some people they just give up. They're like, I'm not good at technology. Like, what do you mean? That's you know, that's like a big subject. You should probably like look into that, you know, like instead of just being okay with it. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's with everything, 'cause I was the same way. I had to learn, Bitcoin. I didn't know anything about finances. I didn't know anything about investing, really. I was just getting into it, and then you find Bitcoin, and then you're like, "Holy crap, there's this whole other world that I was dumb to," and it takes time, but you've done it, and, I mean,
Yeah.
now you stack. Have you noticed your life has just improved ever since?
I feel so much more secure. Honestly, I really do because okay, I'm gonna give you an example. I wanted to buy a sewer camera, right? So I go, I swipe my debit card, boom, they say $5,000 limit, you can't buy it. So then I have to call the bank and they're like, okay, we're gonna get a special request, you know, form so you can spend the 8 grand on your camera. And I'm like, that doesn't sound right. This is my money. Like I'm not even pulling cash out. Like I'm buying it on a debit card. Like how could this be sketch, you know? And like I'm telling you, I'm doing it, you know? And then anyways, I had to end up going to the bank, giving a special form, filling it out, blah, 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 blah. They gave me the money. Like it's just like I feel so much more secure knowing that I have my Bitcoin on my cold wallet. And if I need to leave the country or I need to leave the state or anything, I can move me and my family anywhere we need to go.
Yeah, how long did it take you to learn about hot and cold wallets? Because I think most people, when they get into Bitcoin and they hear "not your keys, not your coins," it's
hmm
such a big hurdle. How long do you think it took you to learn that?
Um, well, I joined the Bitcoin army, right? And I had people like I don't want to say yelling at me, but they were like, "What are you doing? Like, don't keep this on an exchange, like." You know, and they like started to like really educate. It was so crazy, man, because like where I come from or how I was raised, people don't just offer information, especially not good information. It's like gate kept, you know. It's like, oh, you got the game is sold, not told, you know, you know. But like, no, dude, like this guy, Roll BTC, man, Michelle, a double A stack, they're always messaging me. Like, I got educated real quick on cold wallets, hot wallets, you know, how just like, you know, education on keeping everything safe. I still get messages and text messages like, hey, are you updating your passwords? You know, make sure that I don't get like my my stack stolen in the night, you know?
Yeah. No, it's so important to learn too, and the feeling you get when you finally it kinda clicks for you, and then you're like, "I hold my own money," and you don't have to rely on a bank. That's such a good feeling.
Yeah, and I don't like if I like okay, like my example, like say something happens and everyone's going to the bank. You think they're gonna be that cool with me to take my money out? Like, no, bro, they're gonna be giving me shit, you know, and like that's not okay. Like I earned that money. Every shovel I shoveled, I earned that money, you know? Like I should have access to it. Or like a customer paid me with a check, 6,500. it's not little, but it's not millions of dollars, you know? And, like, I went to that bank, and they were like, "Oh, we can't cash it because it's too big. You're gonna have to go open an account with us, this and that and that." I'm like, "I'm just gonna go to my bank, deposit it, and wait like a good little boy." But still, like, it just shows me how fractional banking is just broken, you know? Like, it's just they don't have your money, you know? They'll grab someone else's money to give it to you, but, like, it's gone, you know? And it's just having your own custody wallet, like you said, it just gives you that confidence to know, like, "Hey, I, as a man, am taking care of my family, and I have a way for us to get out of here if we need to."
Yeah. What made you choose Bitcoin when you decided to start saving? I mean, there's like a million other things you could invest in. You
Yeah.
could have chosen gold, you could have
Mhm.
chosen stocks, ETFs, IRA, Roth, any of those. Why did you choose Bitcoin?
Okay. So I saw the most drastic change in the asset of Bitcoin. And I'm gonna put it this way. I saw that not so long ago, you could buy a house for like 1,000 Bitcoin. Does that make sense? And as I saw the price of Bitcoin go up and the price of houses go up, I saw the value in Bitcoin drop. Does that make sense? And I was like, this isn't a little drop. This is like a big drop, you know? So I was like, if I can get as much of this Bitcoin as possible, because I'm not relying on Bitcoin to get me rich. I'm really not. Like, I feel like I'm going to be able to become a millionaire from plumbing. I really do. From the sewer. They're going to say, how'd you get $1 million from the sewers? That's how I got it. You know, I believe in myself and now I know I can do it, you know, but I think that if I put all this money and all this cash into Bitcoin, I think my son is going to benefit tremendously from it. You know, he's going to have a big stack where he's going to be able to do what he wants to do. I'm going to offer him, of course, I'm going to offer him to be a plumber, you know, in the plumbing business. Of course, he has his own choices to make. You know what I mean? But I at least want to have a plan for him. I want him to feel like, hey, my dad has a business set up for me. He has a bunch of capital in case we need to maneuver financially. Does that make sense? Maybe a couple houses, and just put my family in a better situation than it started off in. You know, I feel like that's my mission.
Yeah, is that I love the saying that you put out there. First of all, the dirty hand or what is it?
Yeah,
Dirty hands, clean money. I love that
yeah,
one. But then
yeah,
you also say that you stack for your last name. Is that kind of what you're
yeah.
talking about?
That's exactly what I'm talking about because I feel like I partied in my 20s, you know? I thought I was partying, I was not partying. No one thought it was cute or cool, you know? And so like it's like any if I'm doing it for my son and my last name, it almost takes the pressure off me. It's crazy, like, cause it's like I'm doing it for him, so it's like I don't really have to, like, worry about the results for me. Does that make sense? Like, I'm not worried about me being in a silk, like, robe walking on marble floors. I'm not really worried about that, you know? Like, I wanna create a good life for him, you know? Like, I already it's like a sacrifice, and it's honorable to me, you know? And I feel like God's gonna bless that for me, and, that's good enough for me. Maybe it's not good enough for other people, but for me, I'll be happy with that. If I can watch my kid raise his kids in a good way, like, I've won, you know what I mean? Because I broke that cycle of my dad not being around and his dad not being around, and who knows before that? Nobody, you know? So it's like I have to be that male figure that stays there and everyone can come and ask questions, you know? I gotta be that hub of information for my family, you know, for my ancestors.
Yeah. Would you say I mean, I kind of want to talk about it because we did talk about it before we started recording and,
Yeah.
talking about partying and stuff. How did you overcome, becoming you were addicted to I don't know what, but addicted and you overcame that and I mean, what helped you just like overcome? Can you kind of tell me about that story a little bit and how you overcame that? Just in case it might help someone to realize where you can go from to where you are now. And now you're stacking Bitcoin, for 15, 20 years down the line. Can you kind of,
100%. Yes, sir. So I feel like unfortunately, in the lifestyle that I grew up in, you program yourself not to care about yourself because then you don't have to worry about how you feel. You know, like you go into an institution, you're in a cell, blah, blah, blah. You just don't care about yourself. It's really easy to do time. You know what I mean? You don't care about yourself, it's really easy to throw your life away. So, like, I feel like I really programmed myself not to care about myself. So it was really hard to get clean, man, because I just didn't care. Like, I was just like, this is what I do. This is my lot in life. I'm just a homeless man. I don't have any money in my pocket. I can't even take the bus. I don't have enough money to get something to drink if I'm thirsty. I'm on Skid Row. I live in a tent. Life's over, you know? That's what I really thought, you know? And then I man, I would get small little spurts of clean time, you know, like where I'd go to a rehab for a little bit, and I met a certain individual who I didn't really listen to anybody. I don't know how to explain this. Like, if you didn't look like me or talk like me, or like I just didn't. I don't know. I just because I was taught what respect was in a very skewed way, you know. So like, if I didn't respect you, like, why would I talk to you? Why would I even listen to you? The people I did respected were all twisted and giving me the wrong information. So it's like, yeah. Anyways, okay. So I started to he took me on a he was a tradesman, he was an electrician. He took me on a side job and he's like, "Hey, I need you to do some insulation." You know? And I'm like, "Okay, I could do that." He's like, "This should take like 4 or 5 hours, blah blah blah." I called him in like an hour and a half. I'm like, "I'm done." You know, on like 6 Red Bulls, whatever. I'm like, "I'm done." It's like, "There's no way you're done." I was like, "I'm done. I'm done. Come check it out." He came, checked it out, and he's like, "Bro, you did a great job. Amazing. Come tomorrow, we're gonna do some drywalling." Given I don't know how to drywall, right? So, has me come, I drywall the whole wall, bro. Not the cracks, like, the whole wall, you know what I mean? Because I didn't know what I was doing. I'm like, "I'm done." He comes back, he's like, "What the heck is this, bro? We're gonna have to sand this all down, blah, blah, blah." Anyways, my point is, he gave me a chance, right? He got me into the trades. He showed me that somebody like me could do it, you know? And that sparked something in me to where I kept trying and trying, and I'd go to rehab, I'd get clean, I would fail, go to rehab, get clean, I would fail, until I finally had my kids, you know, I found my son, my son. Once I had my son, um, it's like it wasn't even about me, you know, like I cared about him, you know, and I had a moment of clarity. We were talking about this earlier where like, you know, I was holding my kid and I needed to trade something, and I decided like I wasn't going to trade his childhood, you know, like I wasn't going to do that to him. I wasn't going to have him waiting for me to come out of the restroom for days, or wasn't going to have him waiting in a parking lot. Like I had to be like, I wasn't going to have him doing any of that. I decided he was going to have a good life, and I didn't know how I was going to do it. I had no idea how to be a good anything, a good father, a good partner, a good man. I didn't know how to be a good friend even, you know? And I kind of just made it up. I just decided like, okay, this is how it's supposed to look on TV. So this is the closest as we're gonna get. This is the Southern California version, you know? I'm a little bit rough around the edges, you know? So I pray that my son is not as rough around the edges. You know what I mean? Like that gets kind of taken out of him as I raise him right, you know? And yeah, man, I kept showing up, I kept trying. I never gave up when it was completely hopeless, when I was living in a tent, you know? And I found a trade, and I think that was like I think like what you were saying earlier, that the earlier generation, they don't wanna work, right? So the only people getting these chances are these second chance guys, you know? Like, so the second chance guys are like, "I'll do it," you know? And they're like, "Ah, shit, alright, come on." And they gave me a chance, you know? And I worked like a dog, $200 a day. You know, sometimes they would do 16-hour days, which is like not a lot of money, you
Yeah.
know? And I finally found a good company. I finally found a good boss. He invested in me, you know, and then things started to get better. And then like now I'm killing it. I basically took over that company, not like from my boss, but like I'm his number one guy. I'm his head technician. He sends me to every call first. Like it's going very well. My career's taking off. Like, and I was just a homeless person on the street. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Like you could be, you could not even be able to have a device to watch this podcast, and you can make it. Like you could lose for years and decades, and if you just don't give up and you have some faith and you just follow through and do the footwork, like you can make it. Because I did it. That's how I know.
I think the coolest, I mean, that story is phenomenal. And I hope someone hears that and they're like, I can legitimately turn my life around. And then the coolest part is you found like the scarcest, hardest money along the way. And now you're saving in it. It's not even investing. Like you're literally just like saving your time, your energy, and your money in Bitcoin for your kids. And I can't even imagine what like the price could be in fiat terms in 20, 30, 40 years when you're like, could you imagine, like, if you don't tell them about it or, like,
Yeah,
obviously educate them about it, but, like, you don't tell them how much you have, and then, like, 30, 40 years down the line, you're like, "Hey, guys, like, you're set. Like, you're set for life because look what I saved in." I mean,
yeah.
do you teach your kids about Bitcoin yet, or are they too young?
They're too young. My son's 3, but, I've got him to say it a couple of times, you know? I'll be like, "Hey, say Bitcoin." "Bitcoin, Bitcoin." Like, so he says it, like, but he doesn't know, but he's gonna know. He's gonna know that his dad is saving, like you said, in the hardest asset on earth, because they're never gonna be able to buy at 60K, 70K, 80K. It's just not gonna happen, you know? It's like, man, it's a beautiful thing. It really is because even if we have these 4 years, next 4 years of like what everyone's so terrified about, like this bear market, and you know what? To be honest, if I didn't have people like Roll BTC, Double A Stacks, Michelle, Stacy, George, or those really cool people to tell me like, hey, don't worry, it's okay. This happens every time. you know, I might have like sold. I don't know when it dropped halfway, it dropped down. Like if I didn't have that conviction, if I didn't read the book, the big print, if I didn't read the Bitcoin Standard, like if I didn't like educate myself and have that actual, this is a great time to do a podcast because it's dropping. This is like when the Bitcoiners come out. It's like, oh man, it's dropping. I get to get a little bit more to my stack. Like it's a great feeling to not be panicking. But if I didn't have that support, I might be in that boat. So my heart
Yeah,
goes out to
I
them.
I got my mom finally into Bitcoin this year, or sorry, last year.
Yeah,
And so she's like finally buying, and of course she starts buying and the price has only dropped. And so she's like sitting there, she's panicking. She's like, can I go to zero if I own this? Like, am I ever gonna owe money? And I'm like, no, you can't go negative. You're not gonna owe money. And I'm like,
yeah,
I'm coaching her through it. And so it's really important to have, a little support system when you're first going through a bear market because it can get scary.
yeah,
I mean, when you watch Bitcoin go from $69,000 down to 15.5, it doesn't feel good. Unless you have conviction. Because if you have that conviction, like this is a gift. I mean, are you pumped? Are you pretty pumped about this price? Because
yeah, yeah. I'm pumped because I paid all my bills. So the next checks that are coming in, like I'm gonna be able to buy, huh? But I did get, I would tell you like, truthfully, I would say I got about like 10 to 15 minutes in the last like 2 days where I was like, "Oh, shit." You know what I mean? Like, "Wait a minute." Like, and then I was like, "No, no, 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 it's fine, it's fine, it's fine." Just like the pregame jitters, you know what I mean? Like, as you watch it go to 72, and then you're like, "Oh, man." But that's really not even a dip. Like, it's not like on the long run, it's really not, it's just doing what it does.
yeah, no, it's important to definitely ignore the noise. Like, oh, the amount of
Dude.
FUD that we've been seeing, it's
I've been
insane.
getting messages like, "Hey, Epstein and Satoshi, you should sell all your Bitcoin and buy XRP because like this and that." And I'm like, "Have a good day," like, what? It's crazy, but
Well,
it is what it is.
yeah, anyone that is gonna hold this for at least, another 5, 10 years, you should be really excited about the price dropping 40% from the all-time high because that's a 40% discount. People get excited about buying shoes 40% and shoes go
Yeah.
down in value. This goes up in value and people are scared.
That's the argument always that I have with my coworkers. They're like, "Bro, but it's gonna go down." And I'm like, but you're buying Jordans and iPhones, like, you're not even like, what you're buying doesn't even have value. Like, it has value to you because you bought it, but, like, are you like, they're not, like, hearing themselves, you get what I'm saying? Like, they don't understand, like, that they spent, like, $300 to go out or spend $200 to do this or $500 to do this. Like, that just poof into the air, you know what I mean? Like, that money it's consumerism, it gets sent right back into the system, instead of storing it and putting it away.
Yeah. Have you learned about, is that a big thing you've learned of like a low time preference? Pushing
Yeah.
off gratification.
Yeah, but it's also like, I say like a balance, because I used to put like all my money right away into Bitcoin and then I need money. and then like it drops all of a sudden, and I'm like, "What? I don't want to pull it out now because it just dropped." So like I had to like really balance it out. So I had to be like, "Okay, this is money for sure. It's put away, way away, you know, and then I'm gonna keep this cash in case I need cash, and then I'm gonna keep this other cash account in case my family needs cash because I don't." I don't know what it is, but it's always like emergency when Bitcoin dips, and then you have to pull it out at that time, you know. So it's like, man, you really got to find a balance. And for me, like it's usually money that I don't want to say that I don't need, but money that I'm not going to have to use. Does that make sense? So it's like my actual savings. It's not like a checkings account, you know?
Yeah. No, that's really important. I was gonna ask you, how do you go about stacking? A lot of people, they get their paycheck and they smash by, and then I do what I think what you were just describing. But can you kind of tell me how you go through that? You get paid and then you pay your bills and then stack. Can you kind of walk me through how you do that for someone who's maybe a beginner who's like, "Hey, I kind of want to get into this. How do I manage my money so I don't screw this up?"
So I would say if you're a beginner, avoid like all the emotional ties to your money by putting it all in there because then it's going to drop. You're going to lose more than you want. And then you're going to say, F Bitcoin, I don't want to do this anymore. So I would say if you're a beginner, depending on what your income is or your cash flow, just $50, just $50, $50, $100, just so you can kind of just see it still be there in 6 weeks. That's what triggered for me. Like the cash is never there in the account. I don't know somehow, but the Bitcoin's always there because I don't spend it, you know? So once you start to get that concept, that's when you start to budget. So I started to be like, okay, so luckily for me with my cash flow, I can pay my rent and pretty much all my bills in 1 week. Boom. I pay it all, bam. That means I have like 3 to 4 paychecks left for stacking, and then I can kind of budget it. Yeah, then I can kind of budget it out, and I put like the bigger chunks into cold storage, and then I keep a little bit on an exchange, not too much, just a little bit on an exchange, just in case, like something happens and I have to have access to it. Unfortunately, I have to sell it. I know, I'm sorry, but if I have to sell it, at least it's there. You know what I mean? But yeah, but I always try to keep cash because I've seen again and again, people they don't have a huge check, which is okay. Say they take home like $800 every week, right? Which is a normal check, let's say, and they put like 600 away into Bitcoin, and then it drops, and then they need the money. It's just gonna give you a really nasty taste in your mouth. You're gonna be like, man, all I do is lose money. Like I work hard enough for my money. It's kind of like the opposite effect that it's supposed to have. You're supposed to take a little bit and compound save it. The power of compounding is amazing. Yeah, so that's what I do. I smash buy every week. Some weeks I can't. Like my rent week, sometimes I don't smash buy because I need to keep a little extra cash, but every other week I should be able to. But I mean, my situation wasn't always like this, Vince. Like I used to be very broke, and not make a lot of money. Have to borrow money to get groceries the next week and then pay it back and then have to borrow money somewhere else because my car brakes went out and I need an oil change. And I struggled, but if you continue to be in the trades, like you will make more money. If you find a good company, you'll make very good money, and it paid off.
I think it's really important though that people do learn to budget like that because that's what most people do is they blow their money as soon as they get it. And then I mean that's like the worst thing is you don't want someone to dump all their paycheck. Some people might disagree with me on this. But I don't think it's smart for people to dump their entire paycheck into Bitcoin when you're, kind of learning and getting going because you don't have a stack yet. You don't have like a base foundation. And like you said, if that drops, of course it always drops during the emergency, right? You
Always,
all
every time.
I know. It's like, when it's up at $126,000, like you just feel like you're balling and everything's good. And then it drops down to 70K and that's when you need
Yeah,
it.
every time. It's crazy. I mean,
Oh, go ahead.
sorry. I was gonna say I have a friend on X, her name's Valerie, and she posted that she used to drink like $5 cup of coffee every day, and now she started putting that into BTC, instead. And she's like at like I mean I'm not Dr. Stack or anything, but it's like she has like a point zero 0.01 or something just from coffee. just from buying $5, like, and that's what I'm talking about, like the power of compounding, like just 5, 10 bucks, 20 bucks, 30 bucks. Cause that 10, 20, 30 bucks, like it's going to evaporate in your savings account with the purchasing power. So like putting it into Bitcoin is just protecting yourself from the thief of inflation.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, I used to drink quite often, and when I was drinking, I would buy a bottle or two of wine a day, kind of thing. And then when I stopped drinking, I was like, can you imagine if I just was putting that money into Bitcoin this entire time for how many years I was drinking?
Man, you're telling me. Yeah, trust me, I think about that stuff. I try not to live in the past, but I'll go there sometimes. I'm just like, man, imagine if I would have just took my trade seriously at 20, or what if I would have just done this or done that? But it is what it is, right?
Hey, at least we made it. We made it this far, and
We did.
we found Bitcoin before it's kind of out of reach. Um, I mean, Bitcoin will always be there. It will always be in reach. You can always stack, but you know what I mean. Like a meaningful amount. I'm kind of scared for other people if it gets to 500K or something like that. Like that's going to be really hard for people to stack a good amount of Bitcoin.
Definitely ordinary people, yes. This is definitely the time for I think this is gonna be the time when they're like, "Oh, remember when ordinary people could buy that?" Like, and, like, it actually make a difference. I mean, I think forever and all eternity, it will make a difference if you do stack, like, eventually. Like I'm saying, like, if my kid, when he starts buying or his son starts buying, like, I'm not discouraging him to stack because it's gonna be such a high price, because and if we lower our time preference, maybe like whatever he does buy is going to matter to his kids and the kids after that. So, um, but I agree with you. I don't think they're going to get anything under 100K or anything close to that. So like I mean, I want to say lucky, but we're here and we're buying. So we're lucky that we have the opportunity to do so, and we're living in a country, an amazing country where we can earn a living, and that's huge. I can earn a living. I can go out, work with my hands, and I can freely buy it. I don't have to worry about any too much corruption. So
Dude,
very blessed.
I was gonna ask you about that because so you're in California,
Yeah,
I'm in Florida, so I'm in the way cooler state, and, you're you're in um, dude, what are your thoughts about all the chaos going on with, like,
it's crazy, bro. It's
ho
crazy.
how are you
California's
feeling?
always been crazy. I mean, I was raised by I don't want to say single mom, but my dad was in and out of the picture, and she's Hispanic, so it's like predominantly Democrat. It's always like the rich people are bad, and the poor people should get everything for free. I'm not talking smack. I'm just saying that's how I was raised. Like it's their fault that we're poor and yada yada yada. Yeah, so I feel like that's like the big like the environment around in California. Like a lot of people feel almost entitlement, like the homeless community and stuff. Like they should be taken care of. They should have housing provided. I agree. If you want help, you should get it, and you should be able to earn your way back into society, like I did. I'm always an advocate for people trying to get better, and if they need help, cool. But there's a lot of people that are just like, I'm just gonna live in a tiny home and get high. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy. Like California, like they're not as much on the streets because they built all these tiny homes. So they have like these huge like parks basically where they have like a huge homeless community that they hide from everybody, you know? So yeah,
Dang. I didn't
it's
know
pretty
they
crazy.
actually built those, like
They built them. They built it to get because like the people were like, hey, these people are like on the streets, like using the restroom, walking around naked, talking to themselves. Like it's not the homeless people back in the day when we were kids, like the wino who would just be drinking some wine, like a hippie. These people are like they need help. Like they're not there. Like they know how to get drugs, but they don't know how to do anything else. Like it's like it's a mental health crisis, and we're just feeding it by not to get too political, but just keep giving them more and more and more resources, more and more reasons to stay homeless. Like
I
I don't know.
agree. I think it's
Yeah.
a really big problem in this country. I mean, we don't have to talk about politics, but I think it's a very big problem that a lot of our politicians are feeding this fire of just taking tax dollars from hardworking people like you and me, and they're taking. I mean, you're in California, you pay probably 50%, maybe if I had to guess.
My friend made $7,000 in 1 week, and he took home 3,700.
Yeah, that's almost 50%.
That's
That's in
crazy because he hit that tax bracket, and they were just like, Give me that.
and then they give that to, first of all, they give it to their friends, and
Yeah.
then they give it to the homeless people so they can continue to be homeless.
Bro, it's crazy that those funds half the time don't even make it to where they're supposed to make it. Like they did like all these audits and they're like, where did these $42 million or whatever number it was go? And they're like, oh, somewhere. Let's see if we can find it. Like, shouldn't you guys already know? You know, like it's crazy, bro. This Karen, the Karen Bass, all man, it's like you have to walk over somebody just to get to your car in the morning sometimes, you know? Yeah, man. Luckily, I moved to a nicer neighborhood. I moved my family to like a nicer part of town where it's not so bad. I mean, when I go to work, it's just people breaking into vans, breaking into cars. It's not a good place. It definitely made me think about moving to like a gated community. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to sound like all bougie and stuff, but I service these communities. You know, I service them. I go in. The kids are on their bikes in the streets. Mom's on the porch drinking a lemonade. That's what's up. You know what I mean? Like I couldn't let my kids play out here in the street. You know, like absolutely not. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I know. I feel you. I mean, I live in Florida where it's gated communities everywhere except for in the big cities. And it's like, dude, I want to live in a gated community. Like it feels nice. Like you want that safety and protection for your family. You work hard for it. Why should you not want that for your family? When I have kids, I want my kids to be able to go outside. I mean, luckily I live in a very nice area in Florida, so it's there's a lot of this is gonna sound kind of dumb, or I don't want to brag, but there's a lot of celebrities that live here, like a lot of
Nice.
professional athletes. So there's a lot of police. It's a very safe part of town that I live in, but I still want like a gated community. I want a nice neighborhood. I don't want crime in my neighborhood, and I don't think people should have to, fight for that. That should be something that is common.
I love
Uh,
that. Yeah, bro. I appreciate I would appreciate that, but in California, it's the opposite. It's like GTA. You know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to say. Like if there was just dads staying in the homes and raising their kids and like showing them, hey, oh, you're not a brainiac. That's okay. Let's work with our hands. We'll make some money this way. Oh, you are a brainiac? Okay, let me encourage you to do that and get you a tutor and get you into coding or get you into technology or whatever that is. You know, like I feel like there'd be a lot better situation in California or anywhere in the world that is, you know? The family unit is so important.
yeah. Well, when you're sick of California, feel free to move here because
Yeah,
you'll enjoy it too. You still get your beach, your sunshine, but how do you stay positive? You are one of the most positive people on X right now.
thank you.
You'll DM me like even good night sometimes, and I'm like, bro, I'm like, it's like 11:30 at night here, but it's only like 9:30 or whatever for you, or 8:30, and you're
Yes,
like,
sir.
have a good night, or like have a you'll text me a bit, good morning. How do you stay so positive?
Well, brother, I've been in very, very, very negative situations in my life, you know, like, that's what I was thinking about earlier. Like, even if this Bitcoin all poofed, you know, like my job poofed, like everything just disappeared. Like I've been in such a worse situation from starting over at zero. You know what I mean? That like anything that happens in my life, man, I'm able to just shrug it off. You know, like it's like I've already weathered such big storms. I still have stress from work. I still have problems, but they're quality problems, you know? I thank God for my problems today, you know? Like, oh, I left some crumbs on the counter, like, oh, pow, Josh, you know? Like, nothing crazy, man. I'm not fighting for my life. I'm not facing incarceration. I'm not on trial. I'm not looking for my next fix. You know, I'm not looking for something like to steal or something crazy like that. Like I haven't stolen anything in like a million years. Like it's not my personality. You know what I mean? It's like man, being able to stand on my own 2 feet has given me such confidence. You know, like I'm able to provide the family the life that my family needs. My kids have whatever they want. I'm also like still striving in my career. Like it's just the beginning. Like I'm in sales, but like, and I just took over like as head technician, but like there's still so much space for me to grow, you know? Like you said, I'm making 7.5%, right? And this guy out of 100 and and say I'm making six figures. Like that's a lot of money. You know what I mean? So there's so much room for growth there, you know? Like I think just having like a plan laid out for me now, you know? Like, I didn't have one laid out, but now I have a plan laid out for me, and I laid that plan out for me. I'd gotten a little personal with you earlier. I told you my dad passed away, you know, my father passed away, and, it made me think a
Condolences.
lot. Yeah, it made thank you. It made me think a lot about, like, he's 66, he was so young, you know, and, it made me think about like the time that we have on this earth, you know, the time that we have with our family and the time we have to make something of ourselves. And like if I'm able to like sacrifice my knees and my hands and my back and everything for my future generation, I feel like I said, I feel like God's gonna bless that, man. And I feel like that's gonna be like something that I'm gonna be able to accomplish. And I'm gonna be able when I die, I'm gonna be able maybe I had a hard life, but I'll have like an easy death, you know? Like I'll be able to look back on that and be like, man, I really, really changed my family situation. I saved a bloodline. Like I really made it so that my son could reach heights that I could never dream of, you know, like I got him the education he needed. I got him all the tools he needed. I got him all the equipment he needed, the network he needed, everything just to elevate himself above me, you know, like that's what gives me the joy, bro. I have purpose, you know, like I wake up and I'm like, let's go sell some plumbing shit, you know? Like, let's go fix some sewers, you know? Like, I drink a Red Bull and I'm ready to go because there were days when I woke up, brother, and all I wanted was $10. Just give me $10 and I'll be happy, you know? I remember sitting in a McDonald's one time, busted up, bro, busted up. I looked like life just took a baseball bat to me, you know? And this young, pretty lady comes up to me and I'm like, what is she doing talking to me, you know? I'm all busted up. And she's like, me and my mom want to help you. Like, how can we help you? I'm like, you have $10? That's all I could think of. And she looked at me like the craziest face, like, I'm offering you like basically anything. Like, what do you need? Like a job? Like, how can I help? Like, can we take you to a center? Like, all I wanted was $10, bro. That was my life, you know? So like from going to that to chasing legacy and purpose and saving my bloodline and raising my kids, that's all I need in the morning, bro. And God to back me up. And every morning I thank God, you know, I thank God for what I already do have and what he's presented for me in my life. And if I would have stuck to my plans, I would have never reached anything close to what I'm reaching now. So I'm happy that I turned that over to my creator and I had faith that he was going to take care of me. And I didn't know I was going to be a plumber. I had no idea, you know, like he had that all set up for me, you know, and I just kept showing up and I didn't mess anything up. So that's my belief.
That's so cool. I love that. I think that's so important too. I think it's really important for men to find a purpose and then to execute that purpose and then just to keep a positive attitude is it can be tough. There's definitely tough days. There's days, when you get up and you just feel like shit. Like you don't want to go to work, you don't want to work out. Like I mean, you're still cranking out 150 push-ups a day with us.
Yeah.
How has that been? How's your fitness journey?
Good.
I saw the pre picture, um, chubby face,
Yeah.
and then
Loser.
now, like,
Yeah,
bro, how much
I
weight you
know.
lost?
And I was like 220, 225. Now I'm like 170, you know? Yeah. It's crazy. I used to eat 6 meals a day, like a slam a Little Caesars pizza by myself. Like I said, I didn't care like about myself. I was just hungry. You know, like learning to care about yourself is like a whole new thing, like caring what you put into your body, not just because you like how it tastes. You know what I mean? Nutrition. It all, I know it sounds crazy, but it all leads back to self-improvement, which is what I discovered with Bitcoin. You know, it's like how am I gonna do better than the average? Or like how am I gonna not get screwed by the system, you know? The system is trying to feed me all this junk food and like, no, I think I'll eat steak and eggs and vegetables. How about that? You know, it goes back to it, you know, it's like whatever we're getting fed, like, no, thank you. You know what I mean? Like that's the awakening that happens when you get into Bitcoin. You realize like, hey, I'm getting fed some BS and like I'm good on that. And now I'm gonna find out like how can I actually better myself in my situation, you know?
That's so cool. I love that. I've been on a quite the fitness journey too, and I think it feels amazing.
It
Um,
does.
I mean, once you accomplish like a good workout, and then you can see a difference in the mirror and the amount of energy you have just from like losing some weight and putting nutrition into your body. The amount of energy that I used to have compared to now is like night and day. But
100%.
awesome, dude. What are you looking forward to this year? What, stacking goals, or no, don't tell me you're stacking goals. Don't tell me how much you're gonna stack. What are you looking for in 2026?
I have some goals. I have some
Okay.
stacking goals, and then I have some income goals, and then I have some family goals, of course, you know? My family goal is I wanted to take 2 days where I come in at 9 p.m. because I work so much that by the time when I leave the house, my kids are asleep. When I come home, they're asleep, you know? So I hate the feeling that my son sometimes is like, "Where's this guy at?" You know? Like it's man, it tears me up. So I told my boss, "Hey, 2 times a week, I'm gonna come in at 9 so I can have breakfast and cakes, everything in the morning with them," you know?
I love that.
So that's a family goal I have for them to spend more time. Naturally, I told myself I was gonna take home 200K this year, you know? I know how much I have to make thank you. Remember we talked about that? We talked about how you have to make that much now just to survive? It's
Yeah.
crazy. I took that serious. I was like, "Okay, let's do it." You know, so I have how much I have to do it's like 33,850 or something every week. But anyways, I'm doing decent. Like a tracker, you know? And then I'm not to dox a stack or anything, but I want to become a whole coiner, you know? That's my goal this year, 100%. Become a whole coiner just to put my money where my mouth is, you know? Because it's easy to say I'm a Bitcoiner when it's going up and up and up and up, you know. But this is when you stack when it's down, you know. So those are like three good goals I have, you know. And then I want to buy some equipment for my for the plumbing company because every time I buy equipment, I can negotiate for a higher percentage of commission. So it's like you become more of a private contractor. So I know if I get myself up closer to the 10 to 20%, my income will triple, you know. And then that's a game changer. So yeah, because I worked my way up from 2.5 to 5 to 7.5. Like you have to really negotiate that because that's the boss's money. You know what I mean? You have to really be worth it. So yeah,
Dude, that's awesome. I love those goals.
thanks,
Um, no, I hope you get it. I hope you're definitely gonna become a whole coiner.
thanks,
Um,
thanks.
and that's such a yeah, I love those goals. I'm gonna remember those. I'm gonna have to write those down because those are admirable and oh yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome, man. Hey, where can people follow you? Where can people find you on the internet?
I am at Joshua. Let's see. I should know this, huh? I'm at Joshua DCHM. Dirty hands, clean money. No, Joshua. See, I'm dyslexic. DHCM. That's it.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at.
Awesome, man. No, I'm gonna put it in the description for you so people that watch this that don't follow you, they can follow you. Because
Yeah.
I think that you're such an inspiration. Like it's so cool to see. You make me want to go out and like go plumbing. I'm like,
Yeah, bro.
I want to go
That's the
out.
point. It's just you want to go out and get it, bro. Whatever it is, you want to make sure that you deliver value so that you can be compensated for that. Because I see so many people at my job, they just want to raise, want to raise, want to raise, but they want to do as little as possible while they're working, and that's just not how the world works. If you deliver, like I'll have people be like, "I'm not going to drive the jetter until I get a raise." Well, you drive the jetter and show that you can drive it, and then he'll ask for the raise. You know? It's that simple. Like, I don't know, but I'm just saying, like, you want to deliver value and keep going for it, and eventually you'll be successful.
Awesome, man. That's a great place to end it. So Josh, Mexican magician, dude, I appreciate you. This has been a
Thanks, Vince.
blast.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
thank you guys for listening. I'm your host, Vince. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Please like
Please
this
subscribe.
video. Share this video. Share this video with your friends because if they need a little motivation, a little, kick in the butt to get their ass into gear, show them Josh's episode because this is bomb. And I appreciate you guys, and we will catch you next time.
Yes, sir.
Peace.